All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Nasty Addiction Garage. How many of you are tired of listening to the old analog radios in your old classic MR2s? Or, and if you have changed it, you have been trying to figure out what radio to use on your Toyota MR2. But guess what? You don't have to look any further. We have a sponsor of today's video, Atoto. So Atoto is a company that makes double-din Android radios. They were kind enough to send us a unit. They wanted us to try out a unit. Us tell them what we think about their unit and let them know how it goes. So I agreed to go ahead and install it in a Toyota MR2. So what they sent us were a few different things. So let's go around and talk about it a little bit before we start installing. All right, guys, we have here the Atoto A6 Performance. Also included the Android wireless media CarPlay adapter. So Atoto, good job with that. Besides the camera, the rear view camera, this kind of comes with everything, despite the side brackets that I decided to pick up myself, which so we're gonna go ahead and open this box. We're gonna see what it comes with. I have, something that lets you know about the assembly guide. We have a couple other pieces of paper, some warnings, some manuals. We also have the A6 Performance manual, which is always good to have. They also have QR codes to help you guys use it with different languages. Moving forward, there's this one little piece here, which is kind of interesting because a lot of car radios don't bring this anymore. This is an adapter bracket that goes over the face of the radio, just to make it actually really cool to have, because that gap can be really annoying, especially with us MR2 owners. Having that little gap makes a big difference, and this piece here definitely helps that and kind of seals that little section around. So I think this is pretty good to have. Or it looks like they include a whole bunch of brackets here. It looks about 2 brackets or 4 brackets. Moving forward, they have a microphone. So this is one thing probably I'm not a huge fan of. Our microphones or external microphones, they include the speaker wire or the speaker modules for you. Now that I got the head unit out, what I did is went forward and plugged everything that we're going to be actually using. But moving forward, we have things right here. These are all the generic speaker wires. We have here is the GPS antenna, which I am a huge fan of. GPS antennas are great. We have multiple hookups down here in case we wanted to run speakers with an external amp. These are even great because guess what? You don't have to go buy these guys. These are perfect. You have them and that is it. Lastly, here we have 2 different little wires here. We have a yellow, and the yellow here itself is for the power to the camera, and we have a parking brake. So moving forward, we're going to go ahead and show you guys the screen. So guys, one thing that I do like, now that we're moving on to the screen, one thing that I do like about it is that it does have buttons. I am a big fan about buttons, especially volume control. I don't like to touch the screen to change my volume. I got fat fingers, so you know, I got really fat fingers. So it's really hard to touch things when you have fat fingers. The car, so I'm a big fan about that. But remember this little piece here that I was talking to you guys about? What it does, it actually fills in the spot for your radio. So check this out. It actually makes the radio din kind of complete. So Atoto also sent us out a backup camera. This is the license plate one. I'm not a huge fan of the license plate mounted like these rear view cameras, just because sometimes they look kind of cheap just sitting there over your license plate. A little box that you connect with a couple connectors here. All the connectors come with it to allow you to hook up to a wireless CarPlay. Jump into the installation, guys, and let's go. As you guys see, I got the old radio removed. This is the old radio. This thing is ancient. Go ahead and show a little comparison real quick on just how this compares to what's gonna go in there. It's gonna be kind of cool. So I can't wait, guys. Let's go. Look what we're upgrading to. We're upgrading to this Atoto A6 Performance 2-DIN Android audio GPS radio for our 1994 Toyota MR2. All right, guys, welcome back. This is the next day. So what is crazy that this changing the radio has turned into a huge project. It has basically turned into a whole nother like wormhole of things that are wrong with this car. So we're gonna turn the camera around. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what's going on. So moving forward, as we look into this car, I was looking at the wiring, right? So check this out. This wiring is shot. Like, the guy who had this before just did not know what he was doing. Cut plugs. Oh my God, it was just so weird. So weird. And so that's not working. And what I found out is that this car has a amplifier. Okay? So I go to the back to see where the amplifier is, and I see this nonsense. So there's people who do this, and I don't see or understand why. Yes, I get that this is probably a way to jump the actual amplifier, but no, that's not exactly what you do. So what I'm gonna have to do is order a few different things. We have the amp still in there, up there somewhere. I gotta plug all these up. We do have to get a few other things as well, just so then we make sure that everything is good. But we're gonna go ahead and pick up when these things come in. So let's go. And the whole point of this was to make a sponsored video for Atoto. They sponsored this video with a radio and a whole bunch of connections and stuff. But the previous owner to this car, not the previous owner, the previous owner to this car, did some real funky stuff. They try to bypass the stock amplifier. They had some weird XM radio crap going on. So they had, look at, check this out. This is how confusing this was. They had all these colors, right? All these colors right here, plus a green and, what is that? Green and white. And it's like, great, right? That's not even on here. But this is what the original plug looked like. So it's like, it's kind of annoying because this here is the what it's supposed to look like. All this here is exactly what it's supposed to look like. And the fact of the matter is that it was about 20 wires and not 15, like the pin is. Like, it was all these plus all these. So I was at a big loss. I didn't know exactly what was going on, and I didn't know what was going on to begin with. So I just decided to rip everything out and just start over, per se. But I did take a lot of wiring harness out. This is a whole bunch of stuff. Look at what I pulled out yesterday. This was just even worse. Look at all that stuff down there. That was even worse. So I could only imagine what this guy was trying to do to this car. But moving forward, I did clean it up a lot more. So right now what we have is the harness, I think, that belongs to this car now all terminated correctly in there. What I did order was the original plug that goes to this car, and then the plug that goes to that bypasses the amp or uses the amp. But in the process, I have had to tie all this stuff back together, back to the way it was originally. So my next step here is to go ahead and unsplice all this nonsense that they've done, and try to put it back in the stock fashion, because there's wires here that that are not connected well, for one. Two, are just, look at this. This is insane. And what I don't like about any of this is that we don't know like where all this really goes to. So I'm going to try to follow everything and trace it, and hopefully it works. But guys, wish me luck. Thanks to the liberty of movie magic, I was able to fix this up. So this is what I got out of everything that we had here. Like that hot mess, this was everything that came from it. Took the liberty to clean back here as well. Haven't started on that side yet, but that's a whole nother beast in itself, because there's something that's not supposed to be plugged that's plugged. That's, you see what I'm talking about? But moving forward, what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and remove this seat belt. And as I remove this seat belt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug these guys back into the, I'm trying to see if I can show you guys the plugs. The plugs to the amp, they seem to be color coded, so they all have their own little space. So I can't get a good shot here. So orange, white, blue, they all have their own little space. So we're gonna go ahead and plug that in, but I do first have to remove this seat belt, and I'm just gonna remove this base part, so then I can go ahead and run these wires back up there and get this all plugged up. So good thing is that these still have the stock speakers, stock speaker wires, so I'm glad with that. I was thinking of taking the time now and just removing this old one and putting in the newer Infinity that I want to be using. I'm going to be using the ones that I used from the 3VZ, just because I'm going to get something new for the 3VZ, but this one's going to be my daily, so I might as well have some good speakers in here. So let's go ahead, guys, and move forward with the seatbelt, and let's go. All right, folks, so jumping now to where we're at, I've gotten everything now down packed finally. I got the wire harness back there where it's supposed to plug into the amp, looking phenomenal, so it looks perfect now. I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. The wire harness is paradise by comparison. So hopefully this works. I got the adapter plug that I need for the radio itself, and that's going to be coming in soon. Hopefully I ordered it from eBay, so I should be getting it soon. But I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see what I'm talking about as far as the wiring goes. So let's go. All right, so this here is what it looks like now. Look at that. There's a plug here. I'm not too sure what this plug is for. I'm not sure if this plug is a plug for an amp, or is this a plug for another subwoofer box. I'm not sure exactly what this is here for, but I guess we'll find out soon, because we might need something else. I feel like we might be missing something, but I'm not too sure yet. So we'll find out. But moving over across here, we have to take care of this. So it looks like what they did was just, I guess, I don't know. They just cut the subwoofer in itself, the wiring in itself, to the subwoofer. So I guess that goes up. And they just splice those and just cut them. I'm not sure why they did that, but I'm gonna make sure that right subwoofer amp is plugged up and working, I guess. It looks like it is. So we're gonna continue doing this and try to clean this up a little bit and make it look a little bit better. I do have a different subwoofer box, and I got to give a big shout out to a subscriber. I will do it once I bring out the stuff, but they sent me 2 subwoofer boxes with new subwoofers in them, and I think it was great. It was a Texas Law. It was a very cool guy that's been a subscriber for a real long time out of Texas. I'll have all his information, and I'll give him a proper shout out. But yeah, he hooked it up and sent me 2 of them. So what I'm going to do is clean this up really quickly. I'm going to go ahead and attach that back again. I'm not going to do that on camera. All right, folks, moving forward, as I said, we're going to remove these and go ahead and put them on here. So now we have Infinity reference 4002CFX 105 watt peak speakers. I believe these are 4 inches. These are 3.5, but check it out. We got the wires all nicely, I don't know if you want to call them heat shrinked, that has like a solder in the middle, and then I wrapped them with that wire tape, just to be safe. But we're gonna go ahead and install these guys real quick. I'll show you guys how it looks right after I install them. Let's go. All right, folks, now kind of giving you the last kind of look at how everything cleaned up. So that over there looks pretty good, nice and tucked in. I did finish connecting that wire together with the plug that goes into the right subwoofer amp, which is that big R right there. That's the subwoofer amp. This is the 4-way amp. It's back here somewhere, right there. but that has its own, right back there has its own amp there. So kind of looking at it now, it looks good, nice and clean. All right, folks, welcome back. It is the next day. The parts came in. I have been since this morning actually tightening up all the wiring. I'm gonna go over the wiring and the harnesses that I did get, and which ones I got, where I got them from, and which ones are actually working for this 94. So we're going to kind of recap on what we've done so far. I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll jump into the wire harness, and then we're going to go ahead and try this, and hopefully we can install the radio, and the radio starts to work, and then we could talk a little bit more about the radio and the cool features that it has. So let's jump into it, guys, and let's go. All right, folks, we're going to start off in the car. So you guys, if you guys seen earlier in the episode, this wiring was a mess. So it looks like the previous owner ×2 tried to bypass the amp and try to just wire it, and I don't know what he was doing, but this was a hot mess. So this plug right here with these pigtails came in handy. This plug is from Metra. I'll have all the information in just a few minutes, and I'll make sure I link it down at the bottom for you guys that have 94s and you guys want to put an aftermarket radio and don't want to touch this factory amp. This is one of the plugs you might want to use if you don't have the factory plug already. So I did have the factory plug, but it looks like they were cut. Most of them were cut all off about this close. So it really didn't help any. And I just wasn't, I don't like shoddy looking stuff. So I just didn't want to deal with that. So I ended up finding this plug. And then I found the connector to this plug that will then allow us to use the amp still and run an aftermarket radio. All right, guys. So as I was talking to you guys earlier about the plugs that I got from Metra, these are the plug numbers. So it is 708112, and this is 718112. So you see that the part number is just one number off. So if you ever, get stuck, it's just one part number off. All right, now that we're in the car, I could explain to you guys and show you guys how everything gets plugged up. So this was one of the wire harnesses that I bought from Metra. This is the one with the jacks. I terminated everything here. This is just the power to the dimmer. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward, guys, and try to turn this radio on. Hopefully it turns on. I'm really hoping it works. So let's go. So as you guys seen, guys, unfortunately the radio is not turning on at all, and that kind of sucks because that means there's no power going to the amp, because what happens is that the current goes through the amp. From the amp it goes to the radio, and then from the radio to the speakers. So it kind of sucks in that sense because all the power has to go through the amp. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make this super simple. What we're going to do is we're going to add the consistent power. We're going to add that to the clock. And we're going to then add the accessory to the cigarette lighter. And then we're going to add illumination to the cigarette lighter. And then wire the speakers separately. I think it might be better that way just because I think it'll be quicker than trying to figure out something with this sorry, there's some crows probably gonna poop on me. It'll probably be quicker than having to figure out what's going on with this amp. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end up pulling the amp, unplug it. I'm not even gonna use it. And then what I'm gonna do now is let's see if it works. I mean, this is the only thing that I could think of is to connect the consistent power to the clock. The clock is always on. There's a power and a ground. Then the accessory to the cigarette lighter, the illumination to the cigarette lighter. Pin 1 and 7 are both power antennas, so we're gonna connect those two and then connect it to the antenna power. That's the only thing that I could really think of how it might work. So let's give it a shot, guys. I don't know what to say if this is gonna work or not, but this is definitely worth a shot. So let's give it a shot. Let's go. All right, folks, as you see, we're running out of daylight. I'm gonna show you guys what I did. I'm bypassing or attempting to bypass the amp in the cars or the MR2s with the amp, you know, with the premium sound. So I'll show you guys. I'm gonna turn the camera around. I'll show you guys exactly what I did, so then you guys can see what I'm doing, and then you guys can probably do it at home. Okay, so let's go. All right, folks, so what I did here, first I got a consistent power from the clock, right? So that's yellow to the red. That goes directly to the radio's consistent power. Okay. Next, what I did was took the accessory from the lighter, ran it directly to the accessory on the radio. Next, I did the illumination from the cigarette lighter as well. I took the accessory from the cigarette lighter itself, and then I took the illumination from the illuminating portion of the cigarette lighter as well. Next, so then what I took was pin 1 and pin 7, which is the black and red and the pink and blue. I attached it to the the antenna, so the power antenna. So both of those connect together to the power antenna. So I know these are all off colors. This is just a hodgepodge of stuff because I started with a bad base, because whoever had this car before didn't do a good job, but I'm pretty confident now this is gonna work. So I got basically power to the antenna, I got the accessory, I got the dimmer, I got a constant power, all connected and up and running. So then what I'm gonna have to do next, or probably tomorrow, is wire the radio speakers by themselves, right? I'm gonna have to run wires to the actual speakers themselves. I have to do them to speakers, the tweeters, and the speakers back here, which is not bad. Oh, and the subwoofer down there, which is not horrible. Like, I think that's a lot easier than trying to figure out what's going on with this amp. So guys, enough talking. I'm gonna get this all together, and I'm gonna jump to us installing the radio and hopefully turning the key and this thing turns on. So let's go. All right, folks, this is the moment of truth. Oh, we got illumination, guys. We got illumination. Hopefully it starts. Whoa, it starts. Hey, folks, it's the very next day. Since we did run out of light yesterday, I'm going to jump back on it today. So good thing is we have everything plugged up. I'm gonna turn the camera around, kind of do a real quick recap so you guys can see where I'm at and what I did again to bypass the stock premium amp. So guys, let's jump into it and let's go. All right, folks, this is what we have here. So the project here initially was to make a video for Atoto as a sponsored video. The problem was when I was going to go ahead and install this radio, I noticed that there was a ton of stuff that was not right. Previous owner ×2 must have tried to jump or bypass the amp and didn't do a great job. I did attempt to buy some wires and you know, some adapters to make this fit, but for some reason the amp still didn't kick on. Said and done. What we're gonna end up doing, or what I ended up doing, was running power, so constant power to the clock, and then I got the accessory from the cigarette lighter, and then I got the illumination from the cigarette lighter's illumination. All right, so at that point, what that left me was a ground. I grounded a ground to the back of the dashboard. There's a bolt right behind these vents. I'll pull these out so you guys can see. Turn on the flash. There's a bolt right there that I grounded. So there are two wires that would be initially on pin 1 and 7 on your stock connector, that what you can do is cut those off the pin, or off the plug and go ahead and wire them up together to power antenna positive. The only thing left is then to run the speaker wires. Forward, what we're going to go ahead and do is take this rear camera positive and hook it up, and then we're going to run it all the way to the back. So I'm going to try to clean all this up real quick. I'm going to start taping some stuff up and making it look pretty. So one of my favorite things about this radio is that what you guys just seen right now, it literally boasts a 2-second startup time. You've seen from the time that I turned the key to the time that the screen popped up, and it's ready to go. My second favorite thing about this radio is probably the rear view camera. This rear view camera, I like it because it's kind of like an on-demand camera. It's a 720 camera, so it's got a little graininess, but I think by far it is really good for what you're paying for in this package, as far as a budget radio that also has Android and Apple CarPlay. I do like also is the fact that you have things like YouTube. One thing is this is really useful for when you have a young one that really wants to hang out with you and you really want to have garage time, and you guys can both kind of be in the garage together, and it's kind of a good bonding experience. As far as sounds really well. Another key feature that I wanted to point out is that it does have steering wheel controls. This, unfortunately, is not something we can use or I will be using, but people who have a car of the year that allows these things, I think this is a great feature. This supports a second Bluetooth device. So if there are two people inside the car with two different types of music, you guys can actually sync them both. It doesn't matter if one is Apple and one is Android. This can connect both, and I think that is a very, very good thing to have, just because it really does help, because not everybody has the same type of music, and I think those features are wonderful. Another helpful feature in the car field or in the car world is this Torque OBD Check app. I think this app here is probably one of the best features and one of the features that caught my eye when it came down to this radio, just because this is a OBD2 plug based data logger, I guess, for your car. A lot of times this comes in handy when you are trying to figure out things with your car. This here is probably like one of the best things for a car guy, just because the car guy really enjoys this feature on their car, being able to watch everything in real life time and what's going on with your car here on the radio in the cabin. I think is the best thing ever. One last feature I want to talk about is the TPS sensors. What I like is this radio actually allows you to go ahead and check TPS sensors. So Atoto also sells a TPS sensor for your tire pressures separately, that allows you to go ahead and measure your tire pressures in the car. And again, guys, I like stressing this in the car thing because you don't have to get out. You don't have to check anything with no little tire pressure gauge or anything like that. So I think this is a really, really good feature, and it also kind of brings the car to a modern time, and I really, really enjoy it. The Atoto A6 Performance has a lot of features that a lot of radios that you would pay more money for don't have. These were just some key features that I did explain in this video. There are so many more to go over. I could only encourage you to go out and buy the radio and check it out yourself. I think you will not be disappointed. I think the radio itself, I give it a 8.5 out of 10. There are a couple things that could be changed. I think the rear view camera should be maybe a 1080p camera, just to complement the screen on the radio and how the performance of the radio acts. I think the radio in itself is probably the best radio you can buy for the money, especially for something you're going to use as a daily driver, a commuter, something. These features need to be used. Android CarPlay, wireless Android CarPlay on a radio like that, for the cost that you're going to be using it more often than what the cost of the radio is going to be. So I think by far, guys, Atoto did a great job with this radio. The A6 Performance radio is probably the best budget radio you could buy. So go out there and check it out. I'm going to have links down below. We'll have some coupon codes down below, so make sure you guys check it out, and enjoy the radio, guys. If you guys install it, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below, and if you guys already installed it on your radio, please let me know. Let me know what you like and what you don't like about the radio, because I would love to know your aspects on it, guys. So until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Peace.